Hey everybody, ZenRyder here. Join me for a little ride down Spring Creek as we go on a reconnaissance ride to check out the area. So I parked at Dennis Johnson Park and started out, and a lot of people in the parking lot there getting ready to go ride or walk. And starting out on the trail, you connect over. And one of the first things I found was I saw this sign, which if you look up close it says yield to horses. It has a picture of a horse kicking someone in the head. So I guess they definitely want you to slow down and give way to horses. I did not see any horses on the trail. So here on the map you'll see starting out, I started heading north because I was trying to see how far I could go, and then I went back to heading south on the trail. And this is basically the Spring Creek Greenway, and it connects like 7,000 acres of forest in Harris County all along the Spring Creek. And it's a great ecological preserve, and so there's a lot of nature along here, which is a lot of fun to cruise along. Now this greenway is billed as the largest forested urban greenway in the United States, and you can see in this map all the way from the George Mitchell Preserve all the way down through the Jesse H. Jones Park. And as we're cruising over this bridge, you look to the left there, you can see the creek going along, and definitely beautiful views along here. I really enjoyed it. It was a beautiful day out, probably 70 degrees, but cruising down as it goes along the river. But this is a very nice paved path, and so you can cruise on it. There's other bikers and hikers, of course, and there's a couple bridges and other things, as you can see, but it really is a beautiful trail. And basically there's about 12 miles of trail right here. They just started adding to it, and I think it's been at this stage they keep adding a couple sections here and there, and they're saying this summer they're trying to connect this up over to a different community. It's called the Springwoods Village to Rothwood. They're going to open that up the summer of 2021. So my goal was to try to also check out and see how it could connect up to George Mitchell, making like a huge 30 or 40 mile trail. And I'm hoping still that we could do that. But this trail alone, just even at 12 miles, I just basically took a lunch and said, hey, let me go ride down here during lunch. And Gleb and some other guys had just ridden it recently, and I wanted to check it out because I hadn't been here yet. So it's my goal of trying to find all the good places in Houston in general, and so I wanted to check this trail out. Of course, this is a great place to take a veteran Sherman because you've got nice, beautiful long trails. I think that shows a top speed of 34, but wheel speed versus GPS speed might be a little different. It cruises around the golf course, and as we head all the way down to the southernmost section, which is the Jesse H. Jones Park, and there's quite a few interesting passageways going through here. And as I mentioned, I didn't see any horses, but apparently horses do go along this trail. I sped up a few little sections. Most of this you're seeing in regular time, but I sped up a couple. It's definitely a lot of trails through here, but it's a nice ride. Sometimes when you got nobody else on the road and you just feel like you want to fly, you can definitely do that. I don't know if you've seen a recent video of mine called Ode to the Wheel, where I do some EUC rap, talk about the joys of riding a wheel, and if you get a chance to check that out, feel free. Yes, you can fish along here. There's white bass apparently and catfish. It's also a migration spot for birds, and I guess home to bald eagles, herons, and egrets, and a lot of other wildlife species. So it is a preserve, and it's beautiful, and how much nature and wildlife is along here. Another nice thing about EUCs is that they're completely silent. Well, the newer ones are a lot more silent. Some of the older ones have a kind of hum to it, but the you know, you can come up and see nature, and sometimes you might startle some wildlife. You also have to be careful not to startle any people that are walking. I've done that a few times, and I really need to get a bell or something that I can alert. I tried one recently and it didn't work out so good, so I'm still working on that. But that way you can kind of alert people if you're coming up, because otherwise if you're totally silent, it can definitely spook people. And I know when I was in the Georgia Mitchell Preserve, I saw some deer and I was able to see them. And now see, I slowed down a lot coming up on this mom and her baby in a stroller. They definitely were checking out that device I was on, so unfamiliar with that. But I like, this is a nice little spot as we get near the end, going under this bridge as it curves around this fully developed area. Definitely lets you get up your speed, and it's fun. And you get some nice leaning on those curves. I definitely enjoy that. So here I'm pulling back into the park and back into the parking area. And as you can see from the map here, coming all the way back, and then it gives us our stats here. You know, 22 miles and about an hour of lunch at the average speed, almost 20 miles an hour. So even though slowed down and stopped a few times, still gave me a pretty good average speed. Hey, thanks for joining me. Glad you could come along. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Love to get you on here as a subscriber so you know when my next video's coming out. Take care.